Good evening. Welcome to the 2016 Groat and Alpern Awards. It's great to see this large turnout, but I'm going to beg you to try to just be quiet for 10 or 15 minutes while we get through the program. If your neighbor feels the urge to talk to you, you might tell your neighbor, please be quiet for a few minutes because we're almost done. It's great to see such a large turnout. Thanks for coming. I just finished my first full year as dean, and it's been incredibly interesting and exciting. One of my highlights has been traveling around the country to meet with many of you. I was just thinking of all the cities that I visited, some with Jennifer, some with Chrissy, and others. From Naples to San Francisco to Chicago to New York City to Boston to Philadelphia, there's been a dizzying number of places, actually. As I hoped and as I expected, I've learned a great deal from these visits. I've profited handsomely from your advice, ideas, and encouragement, and meeting with ILRs is energizing. Thanks for caring so much about ILR and for keeping the school so close to your hearts. We have 2 award winners tonight. Our first award is in honor of Jerry Alpern, the Groat and Alpern Award. Jerry's a class of 1949 graduate of the ILR school and was hoping to be here tonight, has never missed one of these events. He fell today. He's fine. He's in the hospital, so Jerry, get better. We're going to send him a video. So he's sorry he couldn't be here tonight. This year's recipient is Jonathan Doljen. As former chairman and CEO of Viacom Entertainment Group, Jonathan oversaw the operations of Paramount Television Productions, Simon & Schuster, and Paramount Motion Picture Group. And under his watch as CEO, Paramount won 3 Academy Awards for Best Picture, for movies you might have heard of: Forrest Gump, Braveheart, and a little movie called The Titanic. Jonathan began his career as a Wall Street lawyer and then went on to become a pioneer and legend in the entertainment industry. Prior to Viacom, he held executive positions at Columbia Picture Industries, Fox Incorporated, 20th Century Television, and Sony Pictures Entertainment. Since 2004, he's been the principal and senior consultant to Wood River Ventures, LLC, in Los Angeles. Jonathan and his wife, Susan, are known for their commitment to giving back, especially to the arts and education. They describe their philanthropy as a theme throughout our lives. It's part of what we believe in. Through education, you can transform yourself in the world. At Cornell, you can see that generosity all over. For example, the Herbert F. Johnson Museum of Art and the Schwartz Center for Performing Arts and the establishment of the Doljen Family Scholarship. In 2008, to honor the Doljen's commitment to the school, the ILR Extension Building was renamed Doljen Hall. The Abe Doljen Labor Education Suite in the ILR Research Building was named in honor of another gift by the Doljen family. Jonathan's father, Abe Doljen, was a vice president for the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. In 2011, Jonathan and his wife, Susan, were celebrated as foremost benefactors at Cornell in recognition of their lifelong dedication to the university. Jonathan once said, quote, "It hadn't occurred to me before I went to Cornell that everything is possible. If I could compete and thrive here, I would be able to compete and thrive anywhere." Tonight, ILR has a very special opportunity to recognize you, Jonathan, for your amazing, incredibly accomplished career and for all you've done for Cornell and our school. Thanks also for your support and advice you've given me personally. I'm very grateful. Unfortunately, I'm also talking on tape to Jonathan because Jonathan couldn't be here tonight. He's not feeling well. We're lucky that his daughter, Tamar, will accept the 2016 Alpern Award on behalf of her father. Tamar is also a Cornellian, from the class of 1993 from the College of Arts and Sciences. She's an accomplished Cornellian herself and is currently a marketing executive with a company called Yum Earth, which is the #1 organic candy company in the United States. I'm delighted that she's here on behalf of her father.
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be here tonight to accept this award on behalf of John Doljen. I know him just as Dad. As a second-generation Cornellian, I know firsthand the unparalleled value of a Cornell education, as do most everyone in this room. To be here tonight is one of the lucky few who not only got accepted to Cornell, but also actually graduated. I want to extend my thanks for bestowing this honor on my father. Actually, it is not just an honor for me or for my father, but extends to our entire family. My aunts and uncles and my cousins who all have a connection to Cornell, and my good friend Tracy, who is my roommate, we're all here tonight. And we were all profoundly touched by our experience at Cornell. Our college experience, both in and out of the classroom, shaped us not only in the 4 years that we were in Ithaca, but for the rest of our lives. My dad's life was transformed by Cornell more than any of us. He arrived there from Queens on a scholarship since my grandfather was a union leader, and I guess he had good grades too. He excelled in ILR since he devours books and thrives on debate. He says he knows a little bit about a lot of things, but the truth is he knows a lot about a lot because he reads and he remembers everything. And when he doesn't, he seeks out that information. He says he wasn't good at math, which is why people go to ILR, or do government like I did. But the truth is he is brilliant with numbers and finance. In Hollywood, he is what you call a suit, because he wears the uniform that all the men here are wearing tonight. He's a businessman, but he also has a passion for the arts and a respect for artists. It was the foundation he built at Cornell and the doors that Cornell opened for him in his career and his life, coupled with his intelligence, love of knowledge, and tireless work ethic that paved the way for his success. When we told my little children, they're 5, 7, and 10, that their grandpa was receiving this award, my 7-year-old son asked, well, why? My dad explained that he did special things in his career that few accomplish. My son, that wasn't a good enough answer. He still didn't get it. So we just explained he was really good at business. And he understood that. He understood he was good at being the boss of a movie company. I added, it wasn't just movies, it was publishing, it was music, it was amusement parks, it was movie theaters, it was TV. And most important, he was exceptional at giving back to Cornell and to the community. My parents and my grandparents felt like it was an obligation, whether they were, back then, didn't have a lot of money, or when they excelled, to be charitable. My dad says he always tries to pay it back, or I think as we now say, pay it forward. My dad could not be here tonight. I know he really wanted to be, and it saddened him that he couldn't. A few years ago, he had a stroke, which made walking, traveling, and basic tasks a challenge. His speech is back, and he is eloquent as ever, and he still tells a good joke. And although his abilities are slightly impaired, I am sure he would get into Cornell today, even though I'm not sure I would. I asked him to write a few words for me to read tonight, so this is what he said. I'm sorry that I'm unable to join you tonight when I receive the Alpern Award. It is entirely undeserved, but absolutely appreciated. I have many wonderful memories from my years at Cornell, some of which do not include the weather. I told you, he still has his wit. My education helped form the bedrock for my career. It wasn't so much what I learned, but how I learned. That discipline was, for me, irreplaceable. To the extent that I have been successful, it is because of the confidence and work ethic that I developed there. Again, my heartfelt thanks. I want to thank you, Dad. You are a role model and an inspiration. You are the American dream. I love you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. The second award tonight is the Judge William B. Groat Award to Robert Manfred, Jr. I do want to say, by the way, that A+ for the noise. A+. So thank you. So let's keep it going. 7 more minutes. Remember, tell your neighbor if they want to talk to you, you can wait a couple of minutes. We'll talk later. The closest I got to Major League Baseball was when I was a sophomore in high school in 1985. I was the starting third baseman for the Hopkins Academy Golden Hawks when we won a state baseball championship. But sadly, thank you. Sadly, I wasn't drafted, and my baseball career ended in high school. So I did what every other kid in America wants to do when they grow up when they can't be a professional baseball player. I got a PhD in economics. Rob Manfred is the commissioner of baseball. His signature's on every single baseball in every single Major League Baseball park in America. That's probably 200,000 baseballs in games and maybe another 600,000 or 700,000 in practices throughout the year. Rob will tell you that his interest in labor relations took root at a very early age. He grew up in Rome, New York, where his father was involved in collective bargaining as an executive with Revere Copper and Brass, and his mother was a unionized teacher. After graduating from ILR in 1980, he earned a law degree from Harvard Law School and went to clerk for Judge William Toro of the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts, then to become a partner at Morgan Lewis in D.C., focusing on labor and employment law. During the 1994-1995 baseball strike, Rob was outside counsel for the owners. In 1998, he joined Major League Baseball full-time as an executive vice president for economics and league affairs. He negotiated MLRB's, the Major League Baseball's first drug testing agreement, and played the key role in forming collective bargaining agreements with the Major League Baseball Players Association in 2002, 2006, and 2011. In 2013, he was promoted to Chief Operating Officer by then Commissioner Selig, overseeing everything from labor relations and baseball operations to finance and administration. He officially became Major League Baseball's commissioner and leader in January of 2015, following a unanimous vote by the 30 Major League Baseball clubs. Rob is the recipient of the Labor Council of the Year Award by the Association of Media and Entertainment, and he has an honorary degree from Lemoyne College. Over the years, Rob has been a great friend to ILR, including coming back to campus regularly, even as commissioner, to meet with our students, to always standing room only events. I'm also personally grateful to Rob for his leadership and advice. Rob, the ILR School is so proud to honor you with the 2016 William B. Groat Award. Rob Manfred.
Thank you very much. I want to start by thanking all the friends and work colleagues that are here tonight. I want to thank the RLR School and Kevin, you especially, for this great award. I remember the Groat Award and reading about it even when I was an undergraduate, and it really is an honor to receive the award. Kevin, take heart. Your baseball career went a heck of a lot further than mine did, okay? I also want to acknowledge a couple of groups especially. Couple of members of my family are here tonight. My wife, Colleen, who has been my partner in this little jaunt for the last 34 years. And one of our 4 children, Jane. The other 3 are working, but Jane's spot in the will was materially improved tonight. I also want to thank all the people from Major League Baseball Advanced Media, and the MLB Network that are here tonight. I have to mention 3 people in particular. Bob Bollman, the president of Major League Baseball Advanced Media, Tony Petiti, our Chief Operating Officer, and Pat Courtney, our Chief Communications Officer. I would not be the Commissioner of Baseball without these 3 gentlemen, and I know we would not be as effective as an institution without the 3 of them, and I really appreciate all 3 of them being here tonight. Most of you know of the 4 major professional sports, 2 of the commissioners are graduates of the ILR School. In fact, one of the pleasures of my first year is that we did a pretty significant business deal with the National Hockey League and Commissioner Gary Bettman. MLB Advanced Media now exploits the digital rights of the National Hockey League. And it may be a coincidence that ILR's produced 2 out of 4 commissioners, but I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and suggest to you that there are a couple of things about professional sports that may make ILR graduates uniquely qualified to have leadership positions in professional sports. First, baseball and professional sports in general may be the last bastion of the strong labor union. Our players actively engage in the collective bargaining process in large numbers. I was in a meeting just this week. Despite the fact that both the Marlins and the Mets had a game that day, there are about 17 active players in the room. Their participation in that process influences how the game's played on the field and how we do business off the field. There are a lot of reasons why people aspire to be professional baseball players. You know, you got those little items, fame, fortune. But I'll tell you, once our players get to the big leagues, I think that their satisfaction is increased by the fact that they can meaningfully impact their work environment through the collective bargaining process. I know it's rare to hear anyone extol the virtues of collective bargaining, particularly somebody who's always worked on the management side, but I do believe that employee participation and the job satisfaction that it produces is one of those virtues. On the management side, the obligation to bargain collectively can be an opportunity. Let me give you just one quick example. The issue of domestic violence has been a very difficult one for sports, all sports. And we are correctly, rightly, held to a very high standard. We're actually asked to discipline our employees whether or not the criminal justice system can prosecute them. Baseball's handling of this topic has been successful so far because we bargained with our players a comprehensive policy that includes education, victim support, discipline, and that cornerstone of industrial jurisprudence, review by third-party arbitrators. Through the bargaining process, we ended up with a policy that I think our players support, and I hope you will join me in praying that that policy will withstand the test of time. A second interesting feature of sports relates to the topic of leadership. Is my friend Sam Bacharach here yet? There he is. That's a good thing, because I was going to change his speech if he didn't show up. A commissioner, like a CEO, leads a large organization of employees. In addition, however, a commissioner also has to lead owners. And if you ask owners, they will tell you to a man the commissioner works for them. My ILR education and the work of Sam Bacharach have taught me that leadership is about more than vision and goals. Don't get me wrong. A vision and clearly articulated goals are really important. But to be successful, particularly in the unique environment of professional sports, a leader needs political skills to secure support for his goals within the organization and to convince various constituency that achieving the organization's goals is actually good for them. In closing, let me just say this. I have the greatest job in the world, and I think that every single day. Along the road to this job, I received help from many people and institutions. I will always be indebted to the ILR School for the great foundation it provided me. Thank you very much.
Almost done. Congratulations again to Jonathan and to Rob. Before we get back to the party, I want to recognize a couple of ILR staff who helped plan this event and always do a terrific job. There are a lot of people involved, so I'm a little worried about the list because I probably will forget someone. But at the core, there's Sue Sappington, Chris Weiss, Haley Singer, and Jennifer Thurston from Alumni Affairs. Teresa Woodhouse from the Dean's Office, Jen Morley and Joanne Kenyon from ILR Communications and Marketing, and Ann Hurston from the ILR Conference Center. So let's thank them all. So thank you, Tamar, thank you, Rob, and congratulations again to Jonathan and Rob, and have a great evening.